Hello guys and welcome back to the F1 Tube YouTube channel, and in today's video I will be leaking my Drivers' Championship predictions for this upcoming 2020 Formula 1 season. But before we delve into it guys, if you haven't already, please go and watch my Constructors' Championship predictions first. It's a video I posted about 2 days ago. So then guys, these are my Drivers' Championship predictions for the 2020 Formula 1 season. Starting from last and ascending all the way up to my predicted champion. Unsurprisingly, in last place I have Nicholas Latifi, driving for Williams in his debut season in Formula 1. I'm certain he'll be in the slowest car in the field this season, driving for Williams of course, and I believe he's inferior to George Russell in terms of speed and talent. George Russell, of course, being his teammate. In 2020, I feel like Latifi is going to have to adapt to driving in Formula 1. I think his ambitions for the future are going to have to come in future years. In 19th, I have George Russell. I've said it before, he'll probably be in the slowest car this season, but due to his experience over Nicholas Latifi and his more rapid speed and his general talent over Latifi, I believe he will emerge ahead of his Canadian teammate in the championship. However, if there's a crazy race in which Williams have a chance of scoring points, Russell needs to capitalise upon that opportunity. That's agonisingly something he didn't do at the German Grand Prix last year, and Russell ended up finishing last in the Drivers' Championship. That could happen again this year, but I believe Russell will have a lot more experience over Latifi, which will enable him to finish 19th ahead of his teammate. Next up in 18th, I have Romain Grosjean, a driver that has been performing at an underwhelming level in the past few seasons, and I do predict that that trend will carry on. Now, I am certain that the Haas car will improve for 2020, however, I'm not so sure Grosjean will. Hopefully luck will be on Grosjean's side this year, but I'll be completely honest, my hopes are not high for the Frenchman. In 17th, I have Lance Stroll, a driver that really did disappoint me last season. I thought 2019 would be the year where Stroll could prove himself, however, his absolutely atrocious qualifying pace really did hinder his race results, and I'm not so sure that's something that Stroll will dispel in 2020. Look, I hope the likes of Stroll and Grosjean do prove me wrong, however, I just cannot see a drastic change unfolding this season, as in drastic changes to their performances. Plus, I don't think Racing Point will be at their very best in 2020 in their period of transition, so that will also hold Stroll back. I predict Daniil Kvyat to finish 16th this season. Somewhat surprisingly, however, I don't think the AlphaTauri car will be as quick as the Toro Rosso car from last season, and I don't think Kvyat was that spectacular last season. Of course, he had that brilliant podium finish in Germany. However, if you look at the second half of the season, he was way slower than Pierre Gasly across the span of the second half of the season, and I do believe that trend will carry over into 2020. A place higher than the Russian, I have his teammate Pierre Gasly finishing in 15th. Now, I do not believe Gasly will have the car underneath him to go for big points finishes on a consistent basis this season. I said it in my Constructors' Championship predictions. I do believe AlphaTauri's midfield rivals will have developed their car just a little bit better than them. However, AlphaTauri's driver lineup can make the difference. Gasly and Kvyat are both talented drivers. In 14th, I have Kevin Magnussen. Now, this season will go a lot better for Magnussen than 2019 did for him, and I do believe the Danish driver will start the season off strongly, but I said in my Constructors' Championship predictions, Haas will probably write off the end of the season so they can fully adapt to a big rules shake-up for 2021, and that will be evident in Magnussen's finishing positions when we come to the second half of the season. In 13th, I have Antonio Giovinazzi. Gio will be a lot more mature and a lot quicker at the start of this season compared to the start of 2019, and that will boost his season tally and his finishing position in the standings. However, I'm not sure on his ability to fight at the very sharp end of the midfield. And I'm concerned for Gio in that there's going to be a lot of uncertainty over his future in the sport. In 12th, I have Esteban Ocon. Now, Ocon is going to show glimmers of his true potential at certain races this season. However, his consistency is going to be lacking slightly due to the fact that he's been out of F1 for a year, and a year is a long time, especially in F1. For Ocon in 2020, it's just about settling back in a full-time race seat. Just missing out on the top 10, I have Kimi Räikkönen. Now, his Alfa Romeo in 2020 should be a lot more consistent than it was in 2019. However, Kimi will be turning 41 later this year, so his consistency isn't going to be exactly perfect, is it? However, I'm confident the Iceman will bring home the points needed for Alfa Romeo. In 10th, I have Daniel Ricciardo. Now, in 2020, he will be a lot more used to the midfield battle. However, he does drive for Renault, and I believe the team will be at a standstill this year. I can't see them improving drastically, and I can't really see them descending down the midfield battle. I think they'll stay roughly where they are. But for Danny Rick, that winning feeling feels a long, long way away. In 9th, I have Sergio Perez, possibly the most reliable driver in the midfield. Now, I do expect the Mexican to have a lot stronger start to the season than he did in 2019. I believe he will translate his brilliant end of season form from 2019 over into the 2020 season. In 8th, I have Brit Lando Norris. In 2020, Norris will have a full season under his belt following 2019, and he will have that pivotal experience that will trigger a lot more mature and consistent performances from the McLaren driver. And hopefully he will have the luck which seemingly deserted him last year, and that will propel him up into 8th in the drivers' standings. So then, that leaves Carlos Sainz finishing best of the rest for a second year in a row. I believe the development of McLaren will give Sainz an even more convincing run towards that best of the rest title. Following a superb 2019 campaign, both McLaren and Sainz realistically have something to work towards, so it's going to be very interesting to see where that development ends up. So then guys, we have reached the big six, and in 6th place I have Alexander Albon. Although the Thai driver will be a lot closer to the top 5 drivers in 2020, it's going to be another season in which Albon just adapts to the Red Bull environment. Of course, this is his second season in F1, so we can't expect him to be on the pace so early in his Formula 1 career. Now, I honestly feel bad for saying this because I hope Sebastian Vettel can prove his critics wrong in 2020. However, I do believe he will be playing second fiddle at Maranello this season, and that, in my opinion, will console him to 5th place. The Ferrari team just seems to have been ebbing and flowing away from him, and it's really knocked his confidence. Seb is and will always be a class driver. He is a legend of our sport. However, he just can't seem to be consistent throughout an entire year anymore. He seems to be making too many mistakes, and I cannot see him rediscovering his true potential. It's sad, and I don't want that to be the reality. However, I do think that will be the reality, and I believe Sebastian Vettel will be consoled to 5th in the championship. Surprisingly, in 4th, I have Valtteri Bottas. Now, the 2020 title fight is going to be very close between Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull, and I think that Bottas will have to play second fiddle to Hamilton to aid his championship progress. Bottas will win races this season, however, like I said, he will be used as an aid to help Hamilton's title chances, and that will affect his championship position. In 3rd, I have Charles Leclerc. In my opinion, he isn't experienced enough and is not mature enough to really go for the championship. And I don't think his Ferrari team are united enough to give him the chance to win the championship. I do believe Maranello is fragmented at the moment, so they commit numerous errors, and that will not help Leclerc's progress towards championship glory. Leclerc should be a lot more consistent in 2020 as well, and I believe that will help him gain third in the championship standings. I do believe the title fight this season will be between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. I think they will be a class above the rest of the field in 2020, but in second place I do have the Dutchman. Verstappen has showcased his true potential. He can go toe to toe with Lewis Hamilton and come out on top. However, he needs the car underneath him from Australia, not halfway through the season, from Australia. And I'm going to trust Red Bull to give Verstappen the car to go for the World Championship. And if they do, Verstappen can really take the fight to Hamilton, but I do believe he will fall just short. So, of course, that leaves Lewis Hamilton at number 1, and in my opinion, he will equal Michael Schumacher's record of 7 World Championships. From my point of view, he will have the talent, the experience, the mental approach, the team, the car, and the number 2 driver to give him the opportunity that he will seize. If you put all of those elements together, Mercedes and Hamilton are superior than Verstappen and Red Bull. And you look at Hamilton as a driver and he is the complete package. Verstappen still has potential to find and realise, and I just think he will lack just a little bit compared to Lewis Hamilton, and that will give the Brits a 7th World Drivers' Championship. But here, guys, are my predictions in full. But guys, that is it for today's video. Please like this video, comment down below your Drivers' Championship predictions for the upcoming 2020 Formula 1 season. And if you haven't already, guys, please subscribe to the F1 Tube YouTube channel for more content regarding the world of Formula 1. I will be back next week reacting to some more car launches. I cannot believe we're getting so close to the season. It's unreal. But until next time, guys, see you later.